thank you so much for being here with us for episode 20.
Oh my God, episode 20.
We can't believe it. Episode 20 of the Level Up Your Inner Power podcast. And we so appreciate you joining us in these conversations about how you can shift, transform, and level up your energy to live your full potential. I'm Juliet Martine.
And I'm Danielle Flood. And today we're diving into how to actually manifest what you want. Not from force or from hustle, but from that grounded, aligned place within you where things just start to flow. We're also going to get really honest about one of the biggest blocks that limits so many people, the thing that keeps you playing small without even realizing it. So if you're ready to break that pattern and start manifesting from your power, stay with us. You are going to love this one. It's packed with some seriously powerful insights that can shift everything. We've had so many messages after our last episode asking for some more tips around manifesting what you want in your life. It's one of those topics that is everywhere right now. Everyone's talking about how to manifest the life you want, how to attract your dream partner, more money, a better job, more freedom. I mean, the whole lot.
Yep.
And, you know, you've got the books, you've got the programs, the mindset hacks, the vision boards, affirmations, law of attraction, intention setting, all of it. And yes, don't get me wrong, they are all very powerful tools. But once you start diving deeper into it, honestly, it can get really confusing. Like, how do you actually make it work? And can anyone do it? Or what if you're doing all the right things, but stuff just isn't flowing the way you want it to?
Yep.
So that's the bit most people don't talk about. They don't talk about the blocks. They don't talk about the patterns, the old energy that gets in the way, because, you know, you can't just think positive your way out of energy that's still sitting heavy in your system.
Very true.
Which is why I am so pumped about today's episode, because I don't know if you've realized yet, but I've got Juliet sitting in front of me. Well, she's not directly in front of me. She's in Byron. I'm in Melbourne, but I can see her. And she is our very own manifestation queen. She's written one of the most clearest, most grounded books on this topic, Manifestation Intelligence. And what I love about it is that it actually breaks down in a way that makes sense. It's real practical steps that you can use to start shifting your energy and manifesting from a clean and powerful place. So today we're going to get into it. Not just the how, but also why sometimes it doesn't work, and how you can start creating from a place of true alignment rather than frustration. Over to you, our manifestation queen, Juliet.
Why, thank you so much, Danielle, for that beautiful introduction. I am passionate about manifesting. I have been so passionate about it that I wrote a book about it many years ago. And there's a really big section in the book Manifestation Intelligence that directly addresses all of the troubleshooting tips around where our blocks are. And yes, there can be a lot of hidden factors when it comes to manifesting. And one of the things that quietly strangles our manifesting power isn't a lack of focus. It's actually the conditions we keep placing on how it has to happen, how manifesting should be happening, what we need to do. And we say we're open to receiving, but then we hand the universe this checklist.
We sure do.
Most of us don't actually realize we're not manifesting so much as it is we're negotiating with the universe. And in the process, we're really restricting the way that things can show up.
Oh, that's spot on. And it's such a good place for us to start, because honestly, when I'm coaching people and I ask them about what they want to manifest in their life, it's usually one of two answers. They don't know, so they don't have the clarity, or they pull out that checklist, that checklist of it's got to look like this. It has to happen this way. It needs to come through that person. And it has to show up by next month, otherwise it's not working. And you know what? I get it. We all want to be clear about what we want. But sometimes what we think is clarity is actually conditions. We start micromanaging the universe because we put all of these conditions and rules around how something has to happen. And in doing that, we actually close ourselves off from all the other incredible possibilities that could be available to us. It's like we're saying, I want this amazing thing, but only if it shows up in this exact way. And that's when we start limiting the flow without even realizing we're doing it.
Yeah, it's not a conscious thing. And we're so used to operating in our human-centric world, which can be very conditional and very transactional and very limited in the ways we think things happen on the physical level. I think we've been trained and conditioned to believe that everything in life is a trade. Time, I trade my time for money, my effort for reward, my approval seeking for love. We've been conditioned to think that we have to earn what's actually already meant for us on a soul level. And that's just not the way the universe works. That's the way humans like to do business, but it's not the way the universe does business. And there are universal organizing processes that operate in this dimension that is our universe, and they're only interested in our vibrational frequency. They're not interested in doing a trade or a deal or negotiating with us. They're the organizing forces that bring things into physical form, that manifest energy into matter, into our experience and our reality, are interested in the energy we're giving out. That's what the universe responds to, our vibrational frequency. This is a vibrationally based universe. It's not interested in rules and conditions. And when we place conditions on things, it actually tightens our grip on what we believe is possible. It completely lowers our vibrational frequency, and it restricts in this kind of strangulating way the way that things can show up in our experience, and makes life way more difficult than it's actually meant to be. But most of the time, when we're being conditional in the energy we're putting out, we're not actually aware of it, as you say, Danielle.
Here's the thing, right? The universe doesn't need you to jump through hoops to prove you're worthy. It doesn't care what you look like, how many degrees you've got, how perfect your resume is, or whether you've ticked all the boxes to deserve what you want, right? The universe isn't sitting there judging you like, well, once you're good enough, then you can have it all. No, absolutely not. That's human conditioning talking, right?
Absolutely. 1 trillion%. The universe does not operate in that way.
It really is. It mirrors back what you're putting out through your intentions, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and that's it.
Yep.
But what does happen often is that our conditional way of thinking and believing gets in the way of our own success. And as you're listening, think about where you are being conditional in your thinking. Like it might be, I'll believe it when I see it, or I have to work really hard if I want to get ahead in my career. It could be, if I want to find the perfect partner, I have to lose weight first, or healing this health problem is going to be a real struggle. But what if things can happen more easily than that? Because the universe doesn't require you to meet certain conditions before you can receive the things that you desire. What if you were to remove those conditions and allow things to come into your experience more easily?
For me, placing conditions on what we want or how it shows up really comes down to our need to feel like we're in control.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And when we try to control the how, we're really just trying to protect ourselves from uncertainty. Control gives us this illusion of safety and certainty, but it's actually the thing that shuts off the flow. Every time we try to manage the timing or the outcome, we're actually like effectively putting handcuffs on the universe. Energetically, we don't manifest from control. We actually manifest from trust. So needing to control what happens in our life or the way it happens or aspects around the timing of when it happens, it's the complete opposite of opening up to the wonderful way that the universe operates, and it effectively closes us off from allowing room for the miracles, for the synchronicities, the coincidences, and that ease of flow that could be happening in our life. And I find that, when we require certain conditions to be met for us to be willing or able to receive the happiness and the health and the vitality and the love and the joy that we want to be experiencing in life, we're actually shutting down our own innate nature, which is limitless. And we're blocking the very flow of abundance that we want to be drawing in and attracting into our life through the law of attraction. So if you want to become more limitless in your manifesting as you're listening, and you want to open yourself up to receiving more miracles in your life beyond your wildest dreams, beyond what you can actually imagine right now, beyond what your rational mind wants to convince you of are the limits on your life, then you've got to learn how to take the handcuffs off the universe. You've got to let go of those conditions.
As you're listening, you might already be thinking about some of the ways you've maybe been a bit conditional in what or how or when you're willing to give and receive in life, and how that affects the way you're showing up. But here's some ways for you to tell when you're restricting the flow of energy. Notice, and just notice if you're using any of the following words in your thinking or approach. Words like if, but, when, unless, have to. These are all great indicators you're being conditional in your thinking and you're restricting what's possible in your life. So here's some examples, right? The only way I'll get a better job is if I get more qualified, or I'll be able to go on my dream holiday when I earn more money. Or I want to find my soulmate, but I have to lose weight first.
That's a very common one.
Or what about no one will want to be with me unless I'm more successful?
Yep.
Or this one I've heard in my time, I'll be happy when I get pregnant, when I resolve this health problem, when I have more money, when I'm famous and my work is recognized. Oh my gosh, the list could go on, right, Juliet?
Yeah, all showing where we're being conditional in our thinking through our language. Or some of my own personal favorites, I'll only start that business if I know with absolute certainty it's going to be a success. So
what about I'll only start a podcast if I know it's going to be a success?
Well, yeah, we had to get over our own conditional thinking there,
We did.
And of course, we'd love for this podcast to be helping millions of people all around the world. But, oh, my God, we have absolutely no idea where this podcast will go, if anywhere, and we'll never find out if we're not willing to put ourselves out there to start in the first place. So we have to get over our conditional thinking to be willing to even take that first step and to take a risk beyond our comfort zone. And that's what manifestation is all about, stretching your comfort zone to become a bigger vessel to receive more in your life.
Yeah.
A very common one that I work with is, I'll start my, whatever it is, fill in the blank, my passion project, whatever it is, or in this case, let's say I'll start my podcast when I'm as good as fill in the blank there, whoever it is you're comparing yourself to, that comparison is that thief of joy. We want guarantees before we make the leap, but guarantees only show up after we do the doing, after we take that leap. And we keep waiting for certainty to arrive before courage does. But actually it's the other way around. We need to be courageous first and stand in our abundance. And things like perfectionism, time, money, they're conditions that we put on life, but they're really just sophisticated ways of saying, fear is in the driver's seat, and underneath it all, I'm scared. So I'm going to place these conditions on my manifesting before I'm willing to step forward. As you're listening, what's resonating for you? What's coming up? What conditions are you placing on yourself that you have to live up to first for you to be able to receive the things you want in your life? What are the boxes that you're putting on your checklist that need to be ticked off for you to be willing to say yes to taking action, to really open yourself up to the possibilities that might be wanting to come into your life? Because that's the thing. We ask for the things that we want, and those opportunities are just waiting to come into our experience. But when we're being conditional, we're the one that's putting the clamps on that.
whatever conditions we might be placing on what is or isn't possible in our life, the real key is to lean into the energy of what's really going on underneath, to get curious, to explore what's really going on for you, that you're feeling the need to place these conditions on yourself and the way things can flow into your life. Look at where you're bringing conditions into the equation and then take some time to really feel into it. And ask yourself, what feelings or stories are going on for me underneath? What are the stories behind the conditions on my willingness to step forward in life, or on my willingness to show up more fully and step into living my fullest potential?
Yeah, when we're placing conditions, there's always going to be a story going on underneath. There's something there that is driving those conditions, and our being conditional in our manifesting. It's actually usually a reflection of our own underlying conditioned thinking that we're then projecting onto how we think the world works. You know, our conditional manifesting is just our conditioning in disguise, and we're projecting our fears and limitations onto the universe, and then wondering why life feels limited and difficult and more of a struggle than we want it to be. And it's not that the universe is withholding. We need to be really clear about that. It's our own limiting perceptions and beliefs that are tightening things up and making it more difficult.
Yeah, and look, Juliet, let's get really real here. The biggest condition most of us carry is fear.
Without a doubt.
Isn't it? It's that voice underneath everything that says, what if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if I get hurt again? All of that. And whenever I stop and really look at what's sitting underneath the limits I'm placing on myself, the control, the overthinking, the hesitation, it always comes back to fear.
Yes.
Fear that I'll be disappointed. Fear that I'll be let down again. Fear that I'll open up and it won't work. So what do? We start creating conditions for what we'll allow in.
Yeah.
I'll only go for it if I know it's safe. Or I'll only open my heart if I'm sure I won't get hurt.
Oh, that's such a big one.
Or I'll only say yes when I know exactly how it's going to work out. I mean, that's a big one too. But
it is.
It is. And the thing is, those conditions are built from fear. They're not built from power. And when we lead with fear, our energy tightens, our frequency drops, and we block the very things that are trying to flow to us because we're focused on protecting ourselves from what could go wrong instead of opening ourselves to what could go right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're focusing on the wrong things.
We really are.
A really big condition I always carried as a mother and a parent was in terms of, manifesting the things that I want. I always placed this condition on it that I had to make sure my children were happy and prioritized first.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I'll fulfill my work and my passion and my purpose if, to come back to that if word, if my children's needs are taken care of first. And prioritizing myself and what I needed to fulfill in life was always really challenging for me when I was raising my family. I was very conditional in my manifesting during those years.
Yeah, and look, that's such a big one, especially if you've got kids, that constant balancing act between making sure everyone else is okay while you're still allowing you to thrive in your work, in your relationships, in your passions. And honestly, this goes way beyond parenting. That whole keep everyone happy thing, that people pleaser pattern. Oh gosh, well, I've been there many times. It's one of the most common conditions we place on ourselves without even realizing it, right? What I'm talking about here is when we say things like, I'll only make that big move if everyone around me approves, or I'll only change my lifestyle if it doesn't upset my partner, or I'll only follow my dream if people still like me for it.
All three of those above applied to me for a good decade in my life.
They're such sneaky ones because it looks like care, like it looks like you're actually caring about the people around you, but underneath it, It's fear. It's the fear of rejection, fear of not being accepted, fear of being abandoned for choosing yourself. And then there's another big one that comes up for a lot of people as well, and that's money. That classic, I'll go for my dream when it's paying me enough. And that's such a trap, because your dream doesn't come alive once it's making money. It comes alive when you decide to pour your heart, your energy all in, right?
Yeah, making money a condition of whether or not we'll step into something is, it's an immediate passion killer right there.
It really is.
Nothing suffocates our passion faster than fear disguised as practicality. We kill our dreams early by demanding that they pay the bills before they've even had a chance to take their first breath. It's like, a baby being born and straight away looking at it and saying, come on, walk, run, do a marathon. It's just not possible.
So true. It's so true.
And, your creativity doesn't need a business plan before it deserves to receive some of your energy and attention, and to have some energy brought into it so that it can start to grow and germinate. And I can't tell you how many people I've worked with who've shut down their creative talents and never given them a chance to flourish because of their conditional thinking around money, the terms that they put on whether or not they're willing to step forward to live their passion. And sometimes our conditions, they might not be around money. They might be around something, another resource that we have access to, which is time.
Yeah,
around
right.
timing. Like if we want to manifest a new job and it needs to happen in the next month, or, I want to manifest a new partner now because, maybe I'm worried about my age and wanting to have a family, or I want my health problems to be fully healed as quickly as possible because I'm frightened that I might never get over this health challenge, which they're all perfectly understandable, right? But sometimes we need to allow a little bit of space around our timing. What if there's more gifts to be revealed through your healing journey, and it's going to take longer than what you might want? Can you allow space for that? Are you willing to surrender into that? If you're feeling impatient, like I want it and I want it now, like the girl in the Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory.
Look what happened to her.
I know. That's a pretty good indicator. There's an underlying fear that's driving us that we're, demanding that it happens right now. And the universe works not on your schedule, but on divine timing, based on our energetic alignment with what it is we're focusing on and everything else that's going on in the universe. What if the job that's absolutely perfect for you, it truly is your dream job. What if it's currently being done by someone else and they're not going to resign for another few months?
Yeah.
Are you willing to wait? Or are you going to start doubting that the right job will ever appear because you've already applied for 5 or 10 or even 20 jobs this month and you haven't had a single response, not a nada? It looks like, if you just look at the appearance, it looks like nothing you do is working, but maybe your soul is asking you to wait or to change course a little bit or to connect in with what's really right for you, because maybe the job you think you want isn't actually the job that will benefit you the most. When we're getting impatient, we're not trusting. That's a really big challenge when we're manifesting. We're not trusting that we're going to be okay. And so we're not allowing for universal timing to take care of things at the right time, the right place for our highest good. And the more we fixate on timing and having to have things happen a certain way, the more we're missing out on the opportunities along the way to relax, to let go, surrender, and allow the energy to guide us and to flow us exactly where we need to be at exactly the right time and exactly the right space. So how often have you had those moments when in hindsight you've realized that everything unfolded and happened at exactly the right time for you, even though when you're in the middle of it, everything felt like it wasn't going the way you wanted and you were stressed out and impatient and, throwing your fist up in the air and going, why isn't it happening now? Have you ever had that, Danielle?
I'm sitting here thinking about my whole life and in hindsight, you think about everything, like I think about my journey in everything, and it's like everything has happened at exactly the right time, and everything that has happened has served a purpose, an opportunity to learn, to grow. Like it really does all happen at exactly the right time. And it can take a little while to trust that, but once you start trusting that and you believe it and you accept it, like things do start to flow. But I think what happens is sometimes we get stuck thinking that everything has to be perfect, like life, ourselves, or the things we want. We feel like everything just has to be a perfect way. We think that if it's not flawless, it's not good enough. But that's just not how life works. Like nature doesn't hand you a polished diamond, and neither does the universe. Like life it's messy, it's imperfect, and sometimes, often, it's quite unpredictable, right? And let's let you in on a little secret. The magic happens in the imperfections, because that's where growth and opportunity and real expansion lives. And when we let go of the conditions, when we stop demanding perfection, we create space for life to surprise us and for us to step fully into our power. So if you've been chasing the perfect relationship, the perfect job, the perfect health outcome, or any part of life, drop the conditions. Embrace the perfectly imperfect. That's where transformation and real power happens.
Sometimes our conditional thinking, I'm just thinking of some other ways, sometimes it comes through the energy of entitlement. That's a really interesting one.
That's an interesting one, that one.
Yeah, I deserve to get that promotion. Like when you're leaning into what's going on underneath, I deserve it because I've been working so hard, and feeling like someone owes us something because, when actually really our sense of entitlement is kind of fear pretending it's fairness.
Yeah, yep.
Truth is, the universe doesn't owe us anything. It responds to who we're being, not what we think we're due. And abundance doesn't come through transactions, it comes through trust. And when we can shift our energy from thinking that I've earned it to I'm aligned with it, that's when the flow begins. Because the universe is not conditional, we are. But the moment we drop our conditions, we remember how unlimited we actually are. And just the act of letting go of your conditions opens up your energy in a way that you feel that shift. And the more conditions you remove, the more miracles have space to enter, because life doesn't need our rules. It needs your openness.
Yeah. And the bottom line is, if you're placing any conditions on what you're wanting to bring into your life, or the way you think it needs to happen, or the timing around when it will happen, lean into what's going on underneath and set yourself free. Let go of those conditions, because you're restricting you and what's possible for you to manifest in your life so that you can really live your full potential. So go out there and rock your life as the incredibly limitless, unconditional you that you truly are.
Absolutely, sister.
And if you found this conversation helpful, we'd love to hear from you. Check out the links in the notes wherever you're listening to this podcast, or drop us a comment on our socials. And as always, make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button to help us get these conversations out to more people. Or better still, take a moment now to share this podcast with someone who's ready to step into living their limitless self. Because when we know how to let go of all of our conditions, that's when anything and everything becomes possible, and we step into living our limitless life. Until next time, bye for now.